Okay, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to the Explainer. Think back to sitting in a classroom, staring at a giant world map pinned to the wall. I mean, we've all done it, right? We look at those familiar shapes, the continents, the oceans, the borders, and we just accept them as basic facts of life. But in doing so, we completely miss the massive, mind-bending secrets hiding right there in plain sight. Today, we're going to flip your perspective upside down. I'm going to walk you through the top 5 wild geography facts that have literally been staring you in the face your entire life. So, get ready, because once you see these hidden patterns, you're never going to look at our planet the same way again.
So, do you really know the map? We consult maps constantly. We're navigating on our phones, planning road trips, checking the weather radar, and because they're such practical, everyday tools, we kind of tend to think of them as these boring, static documents. But they aren't. A map is actually a dynamic snapshot of a planet totally shaped by chaotic natural forces over billions of years. It is full of bizarre statistical coincidences just waiting to be uncovered. So let's start peeling back the layers.
Section 1. The Earth's giant puzzle. The hidden connections between continents?
Let's start with fact number 1, which really requires us to step back and look at the globe from a macro perspective. If you look at South America and Africa, it is completely impossible to ignore how perfectly they fit together. This is the classic gateway drug fact to map weirdness, and it actually helped spark the entire scientific theory of continental drift. Millions of years ago, they were locked together in a supercontinent called Pangaea. You can literally see how the massive eastern bulge of Brazil fits flawlessly into the deep indent of Africa's Gulf of Guinea. It's a foundational geographical marvel, and honestly, it just never stops being fascinating.
Now, what's really interesting here is while almost everyone knows about that South America and Africa connection, fact number 2 reveals a jaw-dropping parallel that almost no one notices. We're going to compare that famous puzzle piece to a completely shocking alternative. Just imagine looking at the east coast of the United States, and then looking all the way across the globe at the west coast of Australia. What could these two entirely unrelated, deeply separated landmasses possibly have in common?
Well, if you were to mentally slide Australia across the vast expanses of the Pacific and Indian Oceans, bringing it right up against North America, you'd see something absolutely wild. The coastal curve of Western Australia almost perfectly interlocks with the eastern seaboard of the United States. It is incredibly uncanny. Despite being shaped by completely different tectonic forces and being separated by half the globe, their coastlines match up in a stunning geographic coincidence that's just been hiding right under our noses. Section 2. Farthest from the ocean. The ultimate point of isolation. Moving from the outer, interlocking edges of the continents, we're transitioning right to the extreme center for fact number 3. In geography, there's this highly technical concept known as the pole of inaccessibility. It represents the farthest point from any ocean, the one singular location on land with the absolute most extreme physical isolation from the sea. Just think about how massive the oceans are, covering more than 70% of the Earth. Imagine being stranded in the one spot on our planet where the nearest drop of seawater is as physically far away from you as mathematically possible. Where would you guess this ultimate location actually lies?
So the crucial point is this specific region, Xinjiang. Located in China, right in the absolute middle of the massive Eurasian continent, Xinjiang holds the title for this extreme isolation. Because Eurasia is the largest landmass on Earth, its geographic center is incredibly deep inland. If you were standing at this specific pole of inaccessibility in Xinjiang, you'd be over 1,600 miles away from the nearest ocean in absolutely any direction. 1,600 miles. It gives you a really profound sense of just how unbelievably vast the Asian continent truly is.
Section 3. Nature's strange masterpieces. The bizarre shapes of water.
Okay, let's move to and see how this builds as we zoom way in from that massive continental isolation down to the micro level. We're now looking at fact number 4. Tucked away in the remote, beautiful European landscape of Finland, there's a relatively small, uniquely shaped body of water called Lake Nannanan. Now, what makes this a wild geography fact isn't its depth or its local ecosystem. It is the sheer, unbelievable statistical improbability of the highly specific shape that the water has naturally carved out over time. Because get this, it looks exactly like the country of Finland itself. I mean, that is just incredible. Nature effectively drew a perfectly scaled-down map of Finland directly inside of Finland. It's like geographic inception. There was zero human intervention here. It's just a pure, surreal Easter egg created entirely by the chaotic forces of nature.
The fact that a natural lake perfectly mimics the exact complex political borders and shape of its host country is an astonishing coincidence that just leaves you in total awe.
And finally, we arrive at fact number 5. We are traveling over to the Middle East to narrate the journey of one of the world's most famous waterways. Think about the mighty Nile River in Egypt. For most of its journey, it flows powerfully northward as a single massive waterway. But right as it hits the flat plains near the Mediterranean Sea, it violently fractures. It splits into hundreds of smaller rivers and veins that fan out widely across the landscape, basically seeking the most efficient path to the sea.
And this brilliantly illustrates the final result, the Nile Delta. That huge geometric triangle shape formed by the splitting, fanning rivers is absolutely massive. It creates this vibrant, green, triangular oasis that cuts right through the stark desert landscape. It's so enormous and so perfectly geometric that astronauts aboard the International Space Station can clearly see its sharp lines straight from space. It's a breathtaking natural masterpiece that beautifully ties our macro perspective of the globe right back into the living, breathing environment.
Which brings us to a final question for you to ponder today. What other geographic secrets are hiding in plain sight? We just traveled from massive shifting continents and interlocking coastlines separated by entire oceans, to fractal lakes perfectly imitating their home countries, all the way to gigantic, space-visible geometric river systems. Our maps are absolutely packed with these incredible hidden patterns and massive scales. So keep your eyes open and your mind curious the next time you look at a globe, because you really never know what bizarre coincidence you might uncover next. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring.